You're watching The Big Story on Mirror Now. I'm Amita Balachandra. Today we talk about a very, very important issue, an issue plaguing the city of Bengaluru for nearly a decade now. That is poisoning the Bellandur Lake. But before we go any further, let's quickly take a look at the top headlines. First up, mega Mirror Now expose caught on camera, government poisoning the Bellandur Lake. Once again, Mirror Now goes on ground to trace the root of Bengaluru's biggest disease. The doublespeak stands exposed, and yet Congress leader Dinesh Gundu shamelessly tries to downplay the gravity of the problem with Bengaluru's Bellandur Lake.
Just dumping the garbage on one side of the lake and putting back on the other, I don't think so. The authorities need to work something on this.
The authorities are aligning some work, but they're not governing what is happening at the other side of the thing.
And why has Bengaluru's biggest lake turned into a septic tank? What is preventing the government from cleaning up its act? Citizens join Mirror Now's campaign to save Bellandur Lake. And more trouble for Kamala Landmark Group. 25 home buyers move court over non-delivery of flats. Straight up to the big story, our expose caught on camera the government of Karnataka dumping toxic garbage on the sensitive Bellandur Lake. The very lake which has been making headlines was spewing toxic froth on the streets of Bengaluru. Now, the Congress government has in fact given us multiple assurances that action will begin on ground. But when Mirror Now decided to do a ground check, we found BBMP, the civic agency staff, dumping garbage into the lake.
It was just yesterday the civic bodies got onto work after the NGT, RAP, BDA, BWSSB as well as the BBMP. In fact, we also showed you the mesh work being done as well as the Paura Karmikas picking up the garbage. However, just a day after that, that is on Tuesday, we see another sorry state of affairs here right at the Bellandur Lake. As you can see, the conservancy workers in fact segregate the garbage and dump it right into this particular lake. As you can see, the garbage has been dumped here. Also, the visuals that you see on your screen, they are segregating the waste, picking up the garbage from different households in this very area of Bellandur and dumping the garbage on the other side of the lake. That is the work where exactly it started on Monday. Remember, the BDA had promised saying that they will take care of as far as the garbage is concerned. That is, the BBMP will look into the garbage issues. They will stop all the garbage which is being dumped into the lake. However, that really hasn't happened. But this morning's the visual that we saw was really shocking, where the conservancy workers working with the BBMP themselves dumping the garbage on the lake bed. In Bengaluru, Shrija for Mirror Now.
In fact, on Mirror Now, we once again pulled up the Karnataka government for an explanation. Karnataka government, despite proof caught on camera, brazen doubt. Dinesh Gundu from the Congress party says lakes across India are polluted and the media is targeting only Bellandur Lake. On The Big Story, we're inviting callers from across India to join in with your views. You can pick up the phone and give us a call and tell us what exactly you feel about this issue. But before we throw our lines open, let's listen in to the working president, KPCC, Dinesh Gundu.
Nothing is an eyewash. The government is doing a lot of work in trying to see that Bellandur Lake is revived and STP plants and all kinds of using other technologies to ease the froth. We are doing a lot of work over there trying to see that we revive that lake. It's not that the lake has become bad during our tenure or anything. It has been built up over a long period of time. Obviously, to revive the lake is the number one priority for our government. And we're putting a lot of money into this, a lot of funds into this. People are monitoring it on a daily basis and things are being worked out. I will not come to any conclusion immediately, but let our officers look into it and see exactly what is happening, why it has happened like this, and if there's any real fault, if they have done, definitely we will see that it is prevented, and who is doing this, we will take some action on them. There are thousands of lakes in so many cities in the country, but it's only Bellandur Lake which is being spoken about, and no other lake is being mentioned, as if every other lake in every other city is clean and neat and not polluted. But leaving the politics aside, it is our duty to see that the lake is revived.
Absolutely clear, shameless display of apathy as the ruling party continues to brazen it out. On the big story, join us, pick up the phone and call us. The details are flashing on your screens. It can be a view, it can be anything that you feel about the city of Bengaluru and its polluted lake. On the big story, we are also joined by Sridhar Pabisetti, CEO, Nama Bengaluru Foundation. Sridhar, tell me this at this point in time. You've heard what Dinesh Gundu Rao has said. The Karnataka government still saying that the media is blowing this out of proportion. You're a citizen of Bengaluru. Do you think the media is blowing it out of proportion?
This is rather unfortunate, and this is not the first time this government has tried to do this. If you remember last Wednesday, when the National Green Tribunal was hearing the case, the Additional Chief Secretary went on record to say that, sir, the fire that you saw on Feb 17th was just because of dry grass and wet grass that caught fire. There was nothing more to it, and hence nothing more to worry about. And we all have seen, your channel has shown the visuals of the amount of fume that was coming out of that big fire on the Bellandur Lake that continued for over 4 hours. How can it be just dry grass and wet grass that got lit? Even the visuals show us that it was only all green grass all around, but the fire raged on for 4 hours. This is the kind of la la land this government has continued to choose to keep itself into, and every single day that it continues to do so actually spells suffering for the residents of the people who are staying around Bellandur and Vartur. What you saw today, if at all the government machinery had imbibed the spirit of the order of National Green Tribunal that was given last Wednesday, when sparing its key officials, it said that any event of garbage being dumped into the lake should be taken seriously and a fine of 5 lakh rupees should be imposed. A simple question now arises. Who will pay the fine of 5 lakh rupees for the visuals that you have caught? Will it be the BBMP officials? Will it be the commissioner? Or will it be the joint commissioner of solid waste management? And I would like to know from the officials today telling who will pay the fine for it. Second, 751 crores is the amount of money that's earmarked for garbage management. And unfortunately in BBMP, it is only garbage transport and garbage mismanagement. What you see today is the sad state of how our rivers, our lakes and our Rajkaluways have become mere garbage transportation and sewage transportation channels, and the whole responsibility of the government to manage garbage responsibility is thrown into the wind. And there are some serious governance questions to be answered today. And the fundamental question, single question that we have today from Nama Bengaluru Foundation is there a rule of law in the city?
Is there a rule of law in the city? And it's complete lack of civic apathy there in Bengaluru. Now let's get in some voices also on the show. We understand Seema Sharma from Bengaluru is on the phone line. Seema, go ahead. What's your question?
I agree with Sridhar that this government, what they have shown from last so many years, I would say, is just apathy. And after this NGT verdict and 1 month notice also, they have daring to come and say all the lakes are polluted, so why to make fuss about Bellandur Lake? This is such a irresponsible statement coming from the government spokesperson. People who are living next to lakes, and especially in Bellandur Ward, we know the state of solid waste management, and there is no management at all. It is collecting from some places and just making all the lakes dumping grounds. Yes, it is not only Bellandur Lake, it is Junakandra Lake, it is Haralur Lake, it is Kaikondhalli Lake. But Bellandur Lake being the biggest and the biggest dumping ground openly after all the complaints from citizens and after all the vigilance which citizen has put, if this is what government can come back after NGT, then we are losing hope on the first week of after NGT verdict.
Citizen saying there that it's an irresponsible statement from the government there. We also have Sonali Singh on the phone line. Sonali, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. It's just so strange that the citizens have to fight with their own government to save their resources. I mean, just imagine, this is the largest lake in Bangalore. The environmental impact on this lake, I mean, there is fire, you can see frothing, whole sort of things which are going on. And imagine the same water is going into our bore wells. That's what a lot of people are consuming. Right? I mean, it's impacting everybody, and this is the largest lake. And, a government body comes up and says that, why just Bellandur Lake, and it's all made up. The reason why it's suddenly coming in the news and everybody's talking about it is that we've had enough. We have had people who've been fighting for this lake for the last 20 years, and just nothing is moving forth on this.
Absolutely. It's the largest lake of Bengaluru, and the government is turning around and saying that why only Bellandur? Thank you so much, Sonali, for giving us those views. If you're a caller and if you're a viewer sitting at home and you want to voice your opinion, be it anything on Bellandur Lake and the complete lack of apathy there by the Karnataka government, to pick up our contact details will flash on your screen right there. You go. Sridhar, let me come back to you with this question. Citizens there, of course, already disgruntled with the government for picking up the fact that why only Bellandur? So at this point in time, when the lake is already so heavily polluted, we see on our screens that there is dumping still going on.
It's really, really unfortunate. I really don't know. I think I should take on to what Sonali also has said, telling why are citizens having to fight with their own governments to open and see the reality and the suffering of the people. And this is really, really appalling, and I find it extremely distressing that the working president of the state Congress had this to say of saying, why are you worried about Bellandur Lake so much? I think hopefully each of the members in the Vidhan Sabha is sent a bottle of the Bellandur Lake water so that they can smell and possibly taste as well and see why is it that the residents around Bellandur and Vartur lakes are so agitated that in spite of a scathing order by the National Green Tribunal where only unconditional apology was accepted, that they continue to do what they are doing. I think, what kind of democracy are we living in where the government of the day believes that you are overreacting for this kind of heavy metal contamination that happens to your lake, this kind of garbage that is being dumped brazenly by state money, that is taxpayers' money from me and you, and it's dumped into the lake, and the underground water is contaminated, and we are forced to drink the same water.
In fact, the lack of apathy is visible across the administration, not just the KPCC president. We spoke to also the mayor of Bengaluru. Listen in.
ಇದು ನಮಗೆ ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಕೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂಥರ ಬೇಜಾರು ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ NGT ಏನು ಆದೇಶ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ತಲೆ ಬಾಗಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಸ್ವಾಗತ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ ದ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ಸ್. ಇದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ JC ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ 24/7 ರೌಂಡ್ ದ ಕ್ಲಾಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಕಸ ಡೆಬ್ರಿಸಿ ಯಾವುದು ಕೂಡ ತೊಗೊಂಬಂದು ಲೇಕ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಹಾಕಿದಂಗೆ ನೋಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಅವರು ನಿನ್ನೆ ತಾನೇ CCTV 2 ಕ್ಯಾಮ್ರಾ ಕೂಡ ಅಳವಡಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಪೌರ ಕಾರ್ಮಿಕರಿಗೆ ಸಣ್ಣದೊಂದು ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮೂಲಕ ನಮಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಕೂಡಲೇ ನಾವು ಆ್ಯಕ್ಷನ್ ತೊಗೊಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದೆ ಆ ಥರ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು. ಪೌರ ಕಾರ್ಮಿಕರು ಯಾರು ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟರ್ಗೆ ಪೆನಾಲ್ಟಿ ಹಾಕ್ತೀವಿ, ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಷನ್ ತೊಗೊಳ್ತೀವಿ.
In fact, this is a show where we will voice your opinions. Your opinions are the most important. Do pick up the phone and give us a call and tell us what you think about the complete lack of apathy there in the city of Bengaluru. In fact, Sridhar, you just listened to the BBMP talk. The BBMP, of course, admits the fact that this is violation of the NGT order and dumping is still going on. And she also goes ahead and says that action will be taken. Is that good enough?
I would at least hope that the action is taken, and I would at least hope that a few officials of the BBMP are suspended for this blatant dereliction of the duty. The National Green Tribunal last week also actually had a word to say. We are really distressed with what the officials of the government of Karnataka attempted to do. We do hope that the government will take severe action against these officials to show that they have scant respect for the rule of law in the state. And I think that I would only look forward to the mayor taking stringent action, not just on those Paura Karmika persons, but also the officials responsible, the ward engineer, the joint commissioner in charge of solid waste management, and the BBMP commissioner should all be pulled up, and they should be held accountable for this kind of activity. What is the point when this kind of expose has to be done by media and civil society? The government yesterday went gaga over CCTVs being installed. CCTVs are not the end. CCTVs are just a means of monitoring illegal dumping. What do you call this dumping by BBMP? It is state-sponsored dumping. This is unfortunate, and I do hope the Bangalore in charge minister wakes up and instead of spending time and energy on frivolous, needless project, wakes up to the reality that our lakes have to be saved, and they have to save for our own future sustainability and survival. There is no future of Bengaluru if we continue to show this kind of respect. We from Namma Bengaluru Foundations and all the citizens of Bengaluru will not allow this kind of thing to happen. The government has to choose if they will be with us or without us.
So Sridhar, tell me this, you earlier had mentioned that this is only the first step. Fencing is only the first step. But the fact of the matter is that dumping is still going on in an already heavily polluted lake. So how are we going to, sort of look at the other recommendations that the committee has already made? What about the long-term recommendations to make sure that this entire lake is completely rejuvenated?
The expert committee has done a tremendous great job in trying to look at an efficient and really organic way of saving the lake without spending a whole lot of money, because we are all responsible people who came in as experts to join the government agencies. Unfortunately, the government agencies neither have the conviction nor the desire to solve the problem of Bellandur Lake. I think the government is captured by vested interests like the builders and the builder lobbies, and they have no time for citizens and scientists and researchers and activists who are trying to save the city of Bengaluru. This is a blatant expose of their interests. There are excellent recommendations that are there which go about saying quantify the amount of sewage, fence the lake, go on and look at different ways in which you can set up sewage treatment plants upstream. There are about 50 lakes which are upstream to Bellandur Lake. If we can do a good detailed quantification study, then we could possibly eliminate half the sewage that comes into Bellandur Lake by putting up medium-sized STP upstream. It is a very, very scientific and sound report. Unfortunately, I don't even know if half the people in the government have even cared to read the report. I'll give you a specific instance, Amita, and this speaks a lot. Yesterday, Namma Bengaluru Foundation team was at Bellandur Amanikere. Bellandur Amanikere is the place where Bellandur water flows into the Vartur. So by the definition of it, there is a primary Rajkalve between Bellandur and Vartur, and that is at the Bellandur Amanikere. Now it is really a sad state to look at. The construction and demolition debris are there that's completely choked the Bellandur Amanikere Rajkalve. And it's really appalling that even after complaining for the last few days, at least we from Namma Bengaluru Foundation reaching out to officials and saying that please protect the Rajkalve that's between Bellandur and Vartur. Because if this gets broken, just imagine the amount of water that is flowing into Bellandur that will get diverted and flow in a new path that it will find for itself. It is devastation waiting to happen. The government even as we speak, has not completed the survey and has not identified the Rajkalve boundary nor the buffer zone around the Rajkalve boundary. The government is not just lethargic, it's irresponsible.
Right. Complete sad state of affairs in the city of Bengaluru there. In fact, if you're a viewer and if you have something to say about the toxic Bellandur Lake, pick up the phone line. Our contact details are on your screens right now. We also caught up with a couple of citizens after our expose there. Listen in.
From the past few days, we are seeing like this garbage dumping is going on here, okay, nearby. And it seems like those are the BBMP employees, but still they are putting the garbage over here.
there is this pungent smell coming every now and then. So if they're just dumping the garbage on one side of the lake and putting back on the other, I don't think so. The authorities need to work something on this,
The higher authorities should be looking into it. They should not be doing this kind of work because there are people who are getting serious problems. They should be checking what exactly has been done and who's doing what, right? I mean, the authorities are aligning some work, but they're not governing what is happening at the other side of the thing.
Few days back they have started something and they are putting the garbage, taking from one side and putting on the other side. And it is very hazardous. Even groundwater also we are not able to use.
Sridhar, you heard citizens there, extremely disgruntled citizens with a complete lack of apathy of the Karnataka government there. Tell us this now. We know that a number of agencies have to come together to rejuvenate this lake. And after our expose, of course, we've seen the BBMP Power Kamika is there dumping waste in Bellandur Lake after segregating them in residential complexes. So who is to be blamed here?
I think it goes all the way up to the Chief Secretary of the state. The Chief Secretary of the state has the entire administration under him. The BDA Commissioner is the chairman of the expert committee, and after the rap on the knuckles on the additional Chief Secretary of the Government of Karnataka, I do hope the Chief Secretary is awake and watching what is happening. The accountability will stop between the political leadership, the government of the day, which is the CM Siddaramaiah and the Chief Secretary. If they both do not take note and they don't respond to the citizens, I think the citizens are going to look at other means of finding justice to themselves. Already they have compromised the future of the citizens by issuing a very, very ill-fated circular where they read down the judgment of
Hold your thoughts. We have very little time on the show. In fact, we have a caller called Audit from Bengaluru. Go ahead.
Yes, hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
You can hear me? Okay, so this is Odette Katrak. I overlook, my flat overlooks the lake. I live in Bangalore. The question I would like to ask is, why have no measures been taken to stop further dumping? Apart from the images you've shown today, which show BBMP staff themselves are doing it, there's tons and tons of construction debris that's going in every single day because we see that, tractors trundling past. Why can they not have a vigilance officer or the enforcement officer there to catch the culprits and find them? The lack of enforcement is what is making the problem from bad to worse, number one. Number two, the reaction to the NGT order is literally a case of too little, too late. They are now running up to clear the weeds. They are now running to put up CCTV cameras. The first CCTV cameras that have come in the most populated zones. Why can't they put the CCTV cameras in the quiet, the areas where nobody can see, which is where the dumping happens? Putting CCTV cameras in, highly populated zones seems to be just to tick it off. So they say, yeah, we put the camera, there's no dumping. Obviously, if you put the cameras in the wrong places, they need to consult with the residents to find out which are the spots where the dumping happens.
Absolutely. There's lack of enforcement, and why can't the CCTV cameras be put in the less heavily populated areas as well, Sridhar?
Absolutely. I think Audit really made some excellent points. The first and foremost question that the government should show is that they are not looking at eyewash. They are not looking at just blowing up a ton of money and not really do what is effective. You don't really need CCTV cameras to tell you where dumping is happening. You just have to come and see in the Bellandur Amanikere, in the Bellandur area, the whole lot of the places there. For months now, citizens have been complaining and crying hoarse of saying how much dumping is happening on the Rajakaluways. I'm told in the last 1 week, hundreds of truckloads of construction demolition debris were dumped rampantly in the area that is surrounding the Rajakaluwe. If you look at it, there is no demarcation of the Vartur Lake boundary, there is no demarcation of the Rajakaluwe limits, Rajakaluwe boundary and the buffer zone around the Rajakaluwe in the Bellandur Amanikere. This opens up rampant dumping operations that is being done. What we saw today is just a few basketfuls of garbage that were dumped by Paura Karmikas. There are truckloads of construction demolition debris that is being dumped in this area rampantly. Wetlands are getting destroyed, and some of this destruction is irreversible. And now the government is up and running and trying to set up a new 40-acre wetland, while you are not protecting the wetland that already exists. Simple, credible measures is all that the citizens are asking. They are not asking for the moon. They are asking for sincere attempts to revive Bellandur Lake.
Absolutely. So simple, credible measures all we're looking at, and of course, we're going to keep a very, very close watch on this issue in Bengaluru. There, we're not going to let it go. 72 hours on, and dumping is still taking place in the toxic Bellandur Lake there, and the Karnataka government's complete lack of apathy. Now, of course, the BBMP has said that they will take action against people who are dumping garbage in this lake, something that we'll keep a very, very close watch on here on Mirror Now. That's a wrap on the big story. Stay with us.